Televisa presenta
Our first response is Marjorie. Marjorie, in your own word, what do you think about it?
Oh, me? If you ask me, I disagree with the death penalty because at the time of sentencing a person, we also become martyrs because we deprive him of the true punishment of life, and only God judges us.
Basically, you are trying to say that they are playing to be good.
In less world, yes.
Wait, I agree with Marjorie, but I think it must have some advantage, like it exists for something.
It does have advantage. For example, a death penalty can only be given in countries that have approved the same law and should only be given to people who have committed profoundly serious crime.
I think that another advantage could be to free up space, which can be occupied by other criminals who are in prison for not serious crimes.
I thought that it was no longer legal, and since we cannot pretend to pay the murder. With death penalty was most given in those times, besides it is not a good deterrent to stop murders according to statistics.
Actually, there are like 14 countries that have legalized this, including Bangladesh, China, Egypt, India, and more countries. And I know a lot of people disagree with it, but I don't really know why it shouldn't exist.
Well, the death penalty is cruel, inhuman, and degrading punishment. It's irreversible, and a lot of mistakes happen. Execution is the ultimate irrevocable punishment. The risk of executing an innocent person can be never be eliminated.
This doesn't deter crime. Countries who execute commonly cite the death penalty to determine people committing crime. These claims has been repeatedly discredited, and there is no evidence that the death penalty is any more effective in reducing crime than life in prison.
We stop here to go a small commercial court.
Breaking news! The body of a person who was walking down the street in Las Colmenas has been found. The person had several dead wounds on his body, and the murderer escaped, leaving the knife at the scene of the crime.
Welcome back, everyone. So, our next question is, who gets the death penalty?
Penalty is for people who commit acts of espionage, genocide, treason, or terrorism. Although all of those convicted are for some form of aggravament homicide.
But we can also say that it's applied in a discriminatory manner. It's a frankly used against the most vulnerable people in the society, such as the ethnic and religious minorities, poor people, and people who has mental disabilities. Some governments have even used it to silence their opponents.
Some countries execute people who were under 18 years old. When the crime was committed, others used the death penalty against people with mental and intellectual disabilities, and several others apply the death penalty after unfair trials in clear violation of international law and standards. People can spend years undead now, not knowing when their time is up or whether they will see their families one last time.
Ask me. Also, due the circumstance where they a large population in prison, they do this because there are many prisons, and another reason is because many times they have been shot and they have dangerous people, so they resort the death penalty, because that way if it is easier to deal with them, and obviously because of the great crimes they have committed.
What about where is it used?
It's often used within skewed justice system in some countries that sentences are imposed as the mandatory punishment for certain offenses, meaning that judges are not able to consider the circumstances of the crime or of the defendant before sentencing.
If the death penalty is so bad, why the United States is using again?
Because they think this the best solution, and personally I disagree, because even if they show you the punishment that you will receive, that does not guarantee you will not commit a similar crime.
That's a good conclusion, but if you see the countries that legalize the death penalty, are countries suffering of overpopulation. So I think it's for convenience. Think about it. If there is overpopulation, the jails are full. The death penalty is something that suits them. The population will go down, less population, less homeless. So, yeah, I think it's more for convenience.
I think it's more convinced to the most majority of the supporters of the death penalty may never have ever thought about the reasons for the simply because they seem obvious. The guilty of the most heinous crimes deserve to die. Oh, hear that? Many of the religions are giving reason to this phrase, but don't forget the love of the neighbor.
So, in conclusion, do you agree with death penalty?
I disagree.
There, they have the death penalty, the cruelest punishment that can exist, and should be a crime if you are sympathetic to the death penalty. Take some time to think about it and why like this should be okay. And with this and with today's program, good evening, and don't forget you have an appointment with us every day at 5 p.m.